Give it a couple minutes. You're trying to.
Should we call, do we agree to roll call when it's part of the end?
No, this meeting is still going.
Okay.
Well, now we know.
I think it's a waiting room feature.
Yeah,
We can move people to a waiting room.
Now we know, right?
yeah.
So we're gonna just start off with you reading or?
Yep, yeah. Whenever you guys want to start, I will continue this.
You recording again?
Yep. Waiting room feature. We can do that. Is council ready?
Yep.
Okay. I will go back to the beginning here. In 2022, the city of Cascade Locks worked with consultants from the University of Oregon's Institute of Policy Research and Engagement to develop a strategic plan for the city. 2023 strategic plan goals for Cascade Locks follow 5 categories of themes for action: downtown revitalization, communication enhancement, code improvements, public service, and affordable housing. Many of these goals focus on improving the downtown visually and functionally, making the city's processes more business-friendly, and updating the City of Cascade Locks development code to reflect current community priorities. In 2024, the City of Cascade Locks obtained a technical assistance grant from the Department of Land Conservation and Development to hire a consultant to assist the City of Cascade Locks in implementing the key short-term goals of the strategic plan: development of a downtown plan and revision of related aspects of the Cascade Locks development code to be more business-friendly. Cascade Locks contracted again with IPRE to develop this plan, which was completed in February 2025. Major goals of the downtown revitalization plan are: 1, to assess the current assets, evaluate existing barriers to economic goals, present actionable recommendations to improve the downtown, including design code amendments, increased public parking options, recreational trail connections, signage improvements, and identifies funding options for key projects. 2, to develop draft language for updating or replacing the Cascade Locks Community Development Code that results in friendlier processes and procedures for developers, businesses, residents, and city staff. And 3, to engage the community through open and transparent processes and significant resident involvement. IPRE staff, city staff, and the Downtown Revitalization Project Steering Committee have developed proposed amendments to the Cascade Locks Comprehensive Plan map and zoning map that are intended to unify all the properties that form the downtown of Cascade Locks under one zoning, downtown district. This means changing the comprehensive plan designation on 18 properties of the east and west ends of Wanapa Street from commercial or residential to downtown, including Marine Park, and changing the zoning map designation of those same properties from commercial, residential, or residential to downtown. By doing so, all properties that front upon Wanapa Street between the Bridge of the Gods and Forest Lane, will be zoned the same, enabling owners and developers to more easily navigate the development process and reinforcing the community's vision for downtown through consistent implementation of the downtown code. The following properties are proposed to be redesigned as downtown of the comprehensive plan. There is a list of 18 properties ranging from 101 Northwest Wanapa to 663 Northwest Portage Road. If council would like me to read all these, I will. But it's a mouthful. The next page is the proposed changes of what they will go to. And lastly, this exact proposal was put in front of the Planning Commission on April 10th. The commission approved, recommending that the city council approve the changes of the zoning map and comprehensive plan map. The vote was 3-1. The commission's discussion focused on the tax lot owned by the Port of Cascade Locks, known commonly as Marine Park. The property has a deed restriction requiring a park to be part of the property. As it is currently zoned public, it is limited to what can be built on the property. Change to a downtown zone increases the land use options for the property. A removal of the deed restriction and a change to the downtown may result in the loss of a park. And I will note that the port has, we reached out to the port on whether they wanted this or not. They initially did, wanted to research the process. They have done their due diligence and now asked to not be changed to downtown and would like to stay public. If council does not want to change them, leave them public, I would also recommend the other two at the bottom of the list, 427 Northwest Portage, 663 Northwest Portage and 439 Northwest Portage also not be changed to stay public. One of those is our sewer pump that is down there, and the other is the in lieu fishing site that the BIA operates. So I'd say if you're not changing Marine Park, don't change those two.
Testimony or written comments? Is it Lakes?
Lot.
Okay,
And it can probably go at the same time, unless you want to promote us from the same organization.
are you Cal?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to?
Are you saying similar things?
Similar things, are you talking each?
I mean, I don't want to speak for you, I suspect so.
Well, go ahead and do yourself and then
Great, okay, so hey, I'm.
why don't you move up to the table so they can hear you?
Great.
Yeah. Say your name and where you're from.
Certainly, Mayor Wood Council, I'm Locke Litwer, reside in 2204 Hood, Sherman Avenue, Hood River, Oregon. I'm one of the partners of Columbia Gorge Capital. We are a humble workforce housing developer operating here in the Gorge and then in Central Coast as well. Rural communities, permanent rental housing, primarily cottage communities, and small format multifamily is our specialty. We also own 101 Monopoly right across the street over there, which we've been in the process of designing a cottage community for some time, and we're hoping to move that forward. So we obviously, we're interested to learn about these changes. We are one of the affected properties. And the main reason I wanted to come here and just comment on this is that we did have the opportunity to talk with Amanda Ferguson, who was the project manager from the University of Oregon Institute for Public Research and Engagement. And I felt like she really deserved some credit, some plaudits for her accessibility, for being really as generous of the time she was with those of us who were affected in the community and cared to talk with her. I'm not sure that I 100% understand the implications of the changes that are being made, but certainly they are a lot clearer for our conversations than they were prior to our conversations. One of the things that really stood out in our conversations were the simplification of the design standards that are going to be applied. Once this goes through, which we do working in Nye Beach, Newport, which has a very prescriptive design overlay. We're comfortable with them. It doesn't bother us, but we like to know really what are the rules, rather than having to navigate in uncertain systems. So that's the extent of my comments. I appreciate you making time to hear me today.
Thank you. All right, Cal.
Hi there. Thank you all very much for your time. My name is Cal Blake. I reside at 20251 Hoodview Avenue in West Lynn, and I'm part of the ownership group with Locke Litwer of 101 Wanapah right across the street. I echo everything that Locke said in his comments to you. I just wanted to add two things. The first is calling out, this is a bit of a mouthful, in the rezone language here, section 8.6.070.110 off-street parking and loading. Section A reduces the parking requirements from 500 square feet of net floor area to 1,000 square feet. It's kind of the calculation that you all use to, or that the city planners would use to calculate the amount of off-street parking. Reducing that requirement is really important to us in terms of being able to provide accessible housing. That is housing that's available to middle-income families and workers. That's our mission, and it's kind of amazing. But there's a saying in the industry that form follows parking, and if we can reduce parking, parking has to be required. But if we have more flexibility to provide what residents actually need, that gives us the ability to build out landscaping, provide outdoor spaces, provide more housing on the lot that we're building. So I just wanted to call that out as an important change that we support. And then the other item I'd like to call out is that it seems like activating a pedestrian streetscape is a big part of the goals of the rezone and of the updates that are being proposed. And a big part of that for us is going to be the ability for pedestrians to cross Wampanoag Street, which is, I think, it's Oregon DOT responsibility. And the speeds can be pretty high, especially coming down, kind of east to west. So we have a beautiful city hall here, beautiful rhododendrons and landscaping out front. I mean, it's part of the reason we're attracted to this part of Wampanoag is because it's a beautiful streetscape. But crossing that street can be dangerous without like clear traffic control measures. So that's not necessarily a part of this, but I just wanted to kind of put it on your radar and say that, it's an important part of activating the streetscape is protecting pedestrians, especially children and seniors who may be a little bit slower, a little less cognizant of the risks. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there any other testimonies? Can we close the hearing? All right, we close the hearing at 7:51. With this council deliberation, do we do that when we go down to the action items or now?
You would do it now
Okay,
as part of the hearing.
I thought. Even though we closed the hearing.
Yeah, but you would get the deliberation if there is any from
Okay.
council. And then the rest would be at the ordinance part.
Okay. But I'm doing it right by having to deliberate after I closed it. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because they've heard the testimonies.
Okay.
Is there anything that they want to address because of testimony they've heard?
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. This is my first public hearing, so. All right, does anybody have anything? Denise?
Yes, I like what I see. I appreciate the folks that are coming here and do really also wanna say, we owe great. A lot of thanks to the IPRE and Amanda Ferguson for the open houses being very open. So this has been very transparent for a long time. I am in favor of meeting the port's new desire to keep Marine Park public and then adding, when we get to the portion where we adopt the ordinance, that we would do 439 Northwest Portage, 427 Northwest Portage, and 4663, is that correct?
Yep.
As all public down in that area.
I want to just clarify a couple of things. So both items that Locke and Cal brought up are actual code changes, not up for debate or approval tonight. We are just looking at the map and how far those zones extend. The actual changes they're talking about will be going in front of Planning Commission on May 19th and then to council sometime in June, probably that first meeting in June.
Thank you.
Yes, just for clarification.
Thank you.
Yep.
You have anything to?
Well, I just have a question, so we're only, right now, we're just discussing what was brought before us in the hearing, correct? And then we have more discussion when the ordinance comes up, so I'll wait and keep mine until the ordinance comes up, Mike.
Okay.
I just had a question because I just wanted clarification for me to understand a little bit more clearly, because I see language and written from the staff report, in the, 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, the last paragraph of the staff report, and it says that. By doing so, all properties that front upon Wanapah Street between the Bridge of the God and Forest Avenue will be zoned the same, enabling owners and developers to more easily navigate the development process. And I guess my point is on the proposed zone change map, there's a big parcel that's in purple, and that looks like that's on Wanapah. Am I misunderstanding that?
Yes and no, it's on Wanapa, but that is the rail yard on the, down the hill along the railroad tracks that is owned by, UPRR, and it's gonna, I mean, right now it's light industrial, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
So we could change it, but I mean, there isn't any need, and nothing's gonna happen there. We've tried to build stuff there in years prior, and they want nothing to do with it. I mean, so we can, but it's kind of, there's no need to.
Okay, that was my
It-
only, it looked to me like that statement wasn't. So
Correct, it's not,
it-
yeah,
Every property except for. that-
except for that one, yes,
that-
yeah.
And then what, the port has requested is to remove Marine Park. And that's what you're saying, that you support that change. Is that something that we need to have more deliberation on, or take input on, does it, so we can decide how we're gonna vote later, or, just.
That's up to you all. They didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to possibly change, but they wanted more time. So I told them, as long as you tell me before today to withdraw it, I mean, you guys can still do whatever you want. They had concerns that their deed or agreement with the Corps of Engineers requires them to have a marina and a dock. And those aren't specifically or conditionally allowed in downtown. They'd be grandfathered in, but they're a little leery to change that and then still be able to operate those two functions. So as of right now, they want to stay public. They have conditional approved permits, and they're fine where they're at. They don't have any major plans for development down there. They're concerned about the dock and the marina.
You have a question?
Again, right now, we're just supposed to be discussing what we heard in the public hearing.
Yeah, 'cause
And
we're not-
We'll have more of that discussion when we get to the ordinance.
Yes. Bernard?
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood what Councilmember put. So we're only deliberating on comments from the folks who testified. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
And
so
staff report.
Yeah, and the staff report.
okay, and the staff. Okay, well that's all right. So a couple things. One, regarding the property across from City Hall. Am I reading the downtown zoning requirements correctly, that if you build something in something that's designated downtown zone, you have to have a retail floor, and then if you do mixed use, then there's have to be housing above that. Can you do just housing on the ground floor along if you're zoned downtown?
I don't think so, but I don't remember it. I have to read it again.
So
I'll have to double check. Yeah, don't quote me.
Current code, no, I don't know what the new proposed language is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
guess. What's that?
Go ahead.
So, as much as I'm supportive of this vision of a downtown with a mixed use, experience for residents and visitors. I can't say enough how housing is a huge priority, and I don't the future of retail I feel like is very much in flux with all the e-shopping going on. So I'm a little concerned if we're too rigid on requiring retail on the bottom floor and then housing above, that retail on the bottom may just be wasted space when there would actually be somebody living there. So I guess I'd love to get to the bottom of that before I vote on this, so I have clarity on what the city is setting up for future development.
So again, the debate for this is essentially where do we want the downtown zone? Right now, it's just that west end of Wanapah. Do we want to extend it all the way to the east end? So it's one continuous downtown zone, not 4 different zones on our main street. That's all
Okay.
we're discussing tonight.
All right.
The
So,
actual details of the code change will be at the next meeting. It'll be in front of
Okay.
Planning Commission on the 19th and then council either the 10th or 24th, whenever we're able to schedule it.
okay. So then just to stay specific to that, I'm supportive of that expansion of the downtown zone with the exemptions presented by the port with the marine park, the tribal fishing spot, and that one other portion that you mentioned.
Yeah, we'll be voting in a little bit.
Yeah, so essentially the goal here was that if Cal and Locke went and bought what used to be Big D's at the other end of town, they'd be following the same process as the people who bought maybe
Correct.
the old Chinese restaurant. So it's all the same process. That was the goal with this.
Okay.
Everybody? Okay. So now it tells me to do the motion to adopt it, but we're doing the bargaining agreement first.
Yeah, now,
Yep,
now
now-
just go back to the agenda.
Yeah, we're at.
Okay. Thank you, guys. All right, so under action items, we have adopt the collective bargaining agreement with the IBEW local 125.
I move to adopt the collective bargaining agreement with IBEW local 125.
Second.
Any discussion? Right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the adopted collective bargaining agreement with the IBEW local 125 passes. 7 yes, 0 no's. All right, adopt ordinance 463, update zone and comprehensive plan and maps.
All right, ordinance 463 approves the changing of 18 tax lots from a mix of commercial residential, or residential to downtown. This will put all tax lots fronting Wanapah, except for the light industrial, as the same at the same designation of downtown. A copy of the ordinance was provided to council and posted at City Hall 7 days prior to reading, meeting the requirements to read the ordinance in title only with substantial changes or substance noted, as long as no council member objects. The ordinance may be adopted in a single reading if the title is read in full twice with the noting of changes. The council approves the ordinance, unanimous decision of the entire council. Attached for review are the ordinance supporting documents in chapter 8 of the city charter. Because there is a chance that we are removing these 3 properties, that ordinance is changing and will require a second vote for the new ordinance to be posted for the public to access. So. But it can still be read in title only, the changes made and then brought back for adoption at the next meeting.
So do we vote to adopt it without them, if that's what we want to do, or do we have to wait?
Yeah, you can essentially make a motion. I motion to approve ordinance 463, but except for the 3 properties that are currently zoned public. Or some wording of that.
I motion to adopt ordinance 463, updating the zoning and comprehensive plan maps with the exception of the 3 properties that are currently zoned public, including the city utility park and the burial of Indian Affairs fishing, treaty access fishing site.
I second.
All right, any discussion?
Yes.
All right, very.
Oh, I guess I do need to actually read it in title. My apologies.
No.
Like, ordinance number 463, an ordinance amending the Cascade Locks comprehensive plan map and zoning map for the downtown district. Sorry.
Okay, just some questions here.
Mm-hmm.
You have down a utility, with no address on the very bottom. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bottom.
Of which, you know,
In the ordinance,
No, in the property part,
The one you just gave out.
Oh, yeah, the staff report, yeah.
it says utility, what is that? It has no address, so I don't know where it's at.
Where are you at?
The fourth line,
It's the only one that, the fourth one's in the bottom.
yeah, right there.
Two of them, right?
Three of them.
There's two of them.
2,400.
I'm going to guess that is the internet CenturyLink, CenturyTel building, but I would need to double check the tax lot number. But I think that is the utility.
And if that is true, the utility, what happens if it goes to downtown? What happens to that building?
It gets grandfathered in
Grandfathered into what?
as a conditional use. I mean, unless they change the purpose of the building, it can still be for the utility.
Okay. And why, okay, in that respect, City Hall. It's gonna be grandfathered in, so it doesn't have to coincide with the downtown code,
Correct. Just like these two houses right here will also be grandfathered in.
and they don't have to conform to the downtown code.
No.
So if something happens to those houses or our city, we can rebuild.
No. So
Yeah,
if,
that's what I
if
thought.
if something happens and all three of these burn down, then it'd be 100% rebuilt, then they'd have to be rebuilt to
The downtown plan,
downtown zone,
the
yes,
downtown zone.
yes.
But they can be sold as long and stay in the grandfather purpose as long as they have not changed the purpose.
Thank you, Denise. Keller.
Just to clarify, in the act of God in which it gets demolished or whatever, it has to be rebuilt according to the design standards of the downtown zone, and it still would be a conditional use within the downtown zone.
That question.
Say that one more time.
Well, I guess, where are we gonna put City Hall? Either by the, like, I mean, how,
So I mean, I think if I remember right, what's proposed to change in the downtown zone is office buildings except those for municipal government purposes. This building is carved out in the text changes, but that's not for the discussion tonight. So we could build an office building except for City Hall. That's the only office building that'd be allowed. But these two houses, the house across the street and then the one across from TIB, if those single residential homes burnt down, they could not rebuild.
Right. Okay,
At least not as a single residential home.
Has to be medium density.
They could do a duplex at,
So kind of on that same train of thought, though, what if they want to make it, construction, they want to add a room or, some sort of a remodel, and they're applying for permits, is that something that would still be allowed?
yes.
So
Yep.
they can make improvements to their structure, but the only thing they wouldn't be able to do is rebuild entirely.
Correct, yeah.
Keller, did you have another question?
I thought I read in here. So in the current downtown zone, no. But in the new downtown zone, residential is allowed?
Not single family homes, duplex and above.
Okay.
Mary Ann.
I noticed that you said that the one's facing Wanapah, but yet the church is in here and it doesn't face Wanapah. It's on Benson. So why would you want to put the church in the downtown zone? To where if it does happen to have a problem, we will not be able to rebuild our church. And it doesn't
The
face
whole
Wanapah.
property, the property is probably one piece of property and it fronts one.
Yeah,
Just
the
because the building doesn't mean that the property doesn't.
yeah, the property line touches Wanapah. And I mean, the address location different from the property line.
15 one Benson, excuse
Yeah,
me.
correct. Yeah, we're talking about just property lines that
Property line.
that are
Doesn't matter if the door opens to Benson or whatever.
correct. Yep.
Again, if that was burnt down, they could not rebuild, is that correct?
I don't remember off the top of my head if churches are allowed or not. I honestly, I'd have to look.
All right, Tiffany. Okay, so we do have some vacancies in this this list on
Yeah, I
the
looked
hearing
up.
report, so I mean, I don't, we're just, how do we know what we're voting on when there's no addresses? And then there's one address without another, without current use, what it is. So, I mean, the report feels a little incomplete. And, maybe it's on the second report, I don't know. I feel like it would be nice to know what happens. What happens if we vote to make it downtown? What does that mean? I mean, we're just being told to make it downtown and then later on we'll figure out what that means. I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling. And it does concern me about the homes and the church, you know, I don't feel like we're getting the complete information, and I would like to, I mean, when we have vacant, we have empty spots on this. And unless they're on this other report, I'm sorry, I didn't know, they're not there either. So. Marianne?
Is the school on this report?
No.
But yet it's got property on Wampum. I'm just a little confused.
There actually already is a section. I don't know how wide it is, but if you look at the map, there is a section.
Well, I'd love to look at the map, but it's so cotton small, I can't look at the map.
There is,
Even with the magnitude.
I don't know, I would say 20-foot section of their frontage that is considered downtown. Yeah.
Well, I do look at the magnifying glass, I'm sorry.
Okay, Keller.
According to the planning commission code for their meeting on Monday, the 19th. The updated code for the downtown says a conditional use is religious assembly, which I would imagine is a church.
Correct.
Denise?
I was a part of the downtown revitalization committee, I think other folks were. And I think we met over a whole year and had maybe 4 open houses. A lot of public information, public input, and then the survey. And I really appreciate I forgot how many came in on the survey, the public comment yet to this point, and so I really support the research that was shared with that community and the public, and what was brought from the state. I know that the IPRE is very they do their work based on public comment, and so they brought a lot back. So that I really am in support of this downtown zone, and I appreciate that it'll go to planning, and then some details can be worked out there as well. And further discussion.
Thank you. Bernard?
Yeah, I was just gonna point out that the development code covers all this. If you guys, I looked at it a little before I was researching this item, and it talks about, you know, permitted uses and conditional uses that are allowed in our downtown zone. And it's pretty robust on the things you can do in those two situations, but there are limits. So I just want to reiterate that for council, so they want to take a closer look at all that. Okay, I guess to Councilmember Pruitt's point, I'm still, I'm wondering, where does childcare services go if it doesn't go downtown?
It's allowed downtown.
It is, well, that's not what I understand from the city administrator.
In the new code, it's allowed downtown that the planning commission is going to discuss.
Did I miss that? I guess I thought it wasn't.
You responded that it wasn't.
Unless I read the chart wrong.
Seems like a commercial business to me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you done, Bernard?
Yes, that was it. Thank you.
So we can keep moving on, Tiffany.
So, does it cost, what does it cost for us, a conditional use permit, is there? Is there a fee that's associated with that?
Yes, yeah.
And
Our current deposit's $3,000, and then anytime that the planner uses to review it, or if an engineer gets too involved, and then we invoice that to whoever.
so if somebody wanted to rebuild their house, it would automatically be a $3,000 fee, and then how often does that have to be? And just to build the property, it's a $3,000, if they decided that. So how often do you have to do the conditional use permit?
Once,
Just one time?
Yep. as long as you're not making any substantial changes.
Go ahead, so, and what? So if we go for this downtown this downtown, sorry, not revitalization, this, changing it to downtown, then do they automatically have to do a CUP, or does?
No, everybody, right, where everything is right now is grandfathered in.
Unless the house is burned down to the ground.
Church or school, whatever.
And to Bernard's question, is there a stipulation that the bottom has to be retail?
I'd have to double check. I do not remember off the top of my head.
There's all these questions. I don't know what I'm voting for here.
What you're voting for is if you want downtown to be contiguous from Bridge to Gods to the cemetery. That is it. The rest of it will be presented later. I know it's a little bit cart before the horse. Yes, but do you want the downtown zone contiguous, essentially expand the downtown zone from the bridge to the cemetery? That's all we're discussing tonight. That's it.
Go ahead. But we don't know what the connotations of that are. I mean, it's like, if you pass it, then you get to find out what it is.
Denise.
I appreciate that the connotations will come once we do. If we allow that to happen, then the planning commission can deliberate over what those connotations are. If we don't, and I will repeat that a year of discussion has occurred with many folks to get done.
Keller.
Just to reiterate what Councilmember Emerling Baker said, this is to define where we want the downtown zone to be. And then in the subsequent things, we as the council get to decide what the ordinance says.
Yeah.
And I just want to add, I think the reason why we did this again was to make this more business friendly, so that way the rules are the same whether you're on the west end of town or on the east end of town, and 7 of these properties are vacant properties. So just want to, part of this is to try to make it more business friendly that people that come in and develop those properties. This also expands the option for the people that own those single family dwellings to be able to develop those properties as well, correct?
Correct.
Because currently they're zoned R2, which limits what they can do in those spaces. So that's all I have to say.
Does anybody else have any questions? All right, so we have a motion and we have a second, right?
We restate the motion just because there's been a
Yeah.
lot of conversation about it.
So the motion is to update the ordinance 463, the update zone and comprehensive plan maps minus the 439 Northwest Forge Road, 427 Northwest Forge Road, 663 Northwest Forge Road. Eliminating them from the map, so they don't go to that downtown. Is that clear?
Perfect, thank you.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bernard, Denise, Keller, and Pete. So that's 4. And then opposed?
No,
Yeah. So you got, all right, so it's gonna be a different ordinance number, correct?
No, the same ordinance.
Okay.
So I will update it, removing those, and then fill in those blanks and that missing information on the chart, so you all have a better idea of the properties affected.
Okay, so it passed for the adopt ordinance 463 to update zone and comprehensive plan maps, deleting Marine Park.
And was that vote, were there 2 nays?
There's 3 nays.
Did you name?
Nay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next is approved new contract with city attorney Ruben Cleveland.
All right. Our contract with attorney Ruben Cleveland to serve as the city's contracted attorney expired in 2024. Attorney Cleveland has provided a new contract with the same rates as the previous contract for review and approval. Per ORS, cities are not required to do RFPs for legal services. The details of the contract are below. The length, May 1st, 2025, for April 30th, 2027. Compensation, $1,200 retainer per month that will cover up to 8 hours per month. Any additional work over the 8 hours, fully billed at $175 per hour. Per the email from earlier, there was an error caught where an exhibit B was listed. Ruben sent over an updated version with that reference to exhibit B removed.
I move to approve the contract with Attorney Cleveland as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so approved new contract with city attorney Ruben Cleveland has passed. Like 7, no names. All right, review and select wastewater treatment plant operator RFP responses.
In a letter dated January 16th, 2025, Jacobs, our current wastewater treatment plant operators, informed the city that they would not be renewing the contract and that is set to expire on June 30th, 2025. City staff presented to council on March 24th 2 options, putting out a request for proposal for operators or bringing the operations in-house. Council chose to put out an RFP. City staff worked with Jacobs and attorney Cleveland to develop the RFP. The RFP was out to the public from March 27th to May 1st. The city received 1 proposal from Treatment Equipment Company, TEC, based out of Kent, Washington. TEC operates nearby plants in Mosier and Multnomah Falls. After reviewing the proposal, city staff determined TEC meets all the requirements listed in the RFP. Below is a breakdown of their proposal. Annual operating fee, $199,680. This includes maintenance and operations during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Optional year-round on-call fee, $7,800. Provides 365, 24/7 on-call response with a 1-hour response time. Solid waste removal fee, $79,833 estimated. TEC provided a separate sludge removal quote. This number was determined by reviewing Jacobs' current numbers and TEC's plan to change the sludge compensation to reduce the number of hauls. This is a pass-through amount and will change based on actual hauling amounts. Total annual cost for all 3 would be $287,313. This is a significant increase from our current contract of $161,000. City staff recommend moving forward with TEC and entering into an agreement and immediately working with TEC to identify ways to reduce the cost of operations, continue to explore bringing the operations in-house, or create a local government partnership to share costs. We do not have time or equipment to move in-house right now. Jacobs is not willing to do a short-term agreement while we explore other options. No partner cities or agencies are willing to assist either. The full proposal and supplemental solid disposal are attached for review.
Make a motion to accept the wastewater treatment operation. Contract, is that what we're?
Yep.
I second.
All right, any discussion? Okay.
So, I sent this question out, but are you gonna take us look at this and see if?
I can if that's what council would like, yeah.
Would council think, I mean, I think it would be good to, for the person the people that have been taking care of it, to take a look at what this contract says and see if they act, because I don't know what I'm looking at here compared to what they know, and even if the attorney looks at the contract, I mean, does he know what the implications are of what the procedures are that are being discussed, and I have no idea.
Denise?
When will our services end?
June 30th.
June 30th. So do we have time to not vote on this?
As in bring back this proposal for June, probably, but it'd be tight to get TEC on board in time, but probably.
Marianne,
And you're saying Jacobs won't give us a couple more months?
No, when I talked to them, July 1, they're done. They are walking out the door.
But when they first told us this, they said they would be willing to work with us.
I called them after I got this, asked that same question. They said no. June 30th, they are done. Oh, go ahead. So my proposal to them was, give us 3-4 months to see what we can do to bring this in-house, and they said no.
What do you think changed their mind? Because whenever I spoke with them, when they first gave us the letter that they were stopping, he said that they wouldn't leave us high and dry, that they would stick around a little bit if we needed it.
I do not know.
And according to my question, via email, you said the attorney hasn't looked at this contract completely yet.
He's still reviewing it, and he just does the legal side of it, not the actual operations of the plant. But yeah. So again, I guess we're not approving a contract, we're approving to accept a proposal, and then we go into actually working out the contract.
To the proposal.
Yeah, yes, just kind of accepting the proposal, not entering into the contract.
You should send your motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna amend it.
I accept that. I know
Can you
you're
state your amendment so she?
That will accept the proposal for TEC.
I move to approve the proposal for.
Proposal, okay, yeah, so I move to approve the proposal from TEC to operate.
And then, I need a
I
second, okay. And then Marianne.
Do you know what they are going? Based on what I see, they're gonna put chemicals in there to reduce the sludge,
To increase the sludge, actually.
to increase it?
Yeah. So right now, the sludge they haul off is 98% water and 2% actual sludge. They're going to add chemicals, whatever they do, to increase that to probably 5% sludge, 95% water. So it's less hauls, less money for fuel and all that, the operating costs. What chemicals? I couldn't tell you. I mean, I think he told me, but I don't know.
Because currently we're chemical
Chemical free.
Correct.
And I do know that some of that water used to go into the Columbia if it was clean.
Not the stuff that is in those sludge tanks. Once it's in the sludge tanks, those are not released to the river. Again, I'm not an expert in this, but I don't think they are.
All right, Bernard.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so just a few things. Look, typically the way we operated in other cities, the council would accept a proposed bid from, in this case, TEC for the provision of wastewater treatment services, and then direct or authorize the city administrator to conduct contract negotiations to actually adopt a contract. That's typically how we did it. I don't know if Cascade Locks has a different process, but I would be supportive of a motion that read to that effect. We're the decider on who's getting the bid and the amount of the bid, and then we let the city administrator and staff work out the details on meeting the obligations of our treatment plan. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And yes, I'm pretty sure that he's right about the sludge treatment. It goes into a separate, facility. That's what's being treated to gum up the sludge and then reduce the water that's needed to get transported from A to B. So I'm happy to see that. That's going to be a good improvement on our efficiency for our cost for that. And then I had the other question was, it wasn't in the staff report. Will you just share your reference checks you did on TEC, City Administrator Bennett, with the
Yes.
council?
I was able to reach both Mosier and Multnomah Falls. They gave glowing reviews. Like they said, they confirmed that TEC was able to lower their operating costs. So they confirmed that. And in terms of communication, working with their staff, nothing but glowing reviews. Just fantastic.
And the last thing, and everyone needs to understand, we have a permit that we have to abide by to treat sewage. So if we're not within the boundaries of the permit, we'll get fined by the state. We have to send in, test results of everything that gets put out as effluent. And if we're not in those boundaries, then TEC is going to immediately know and the city's going to know. So they understand that. I have a little worry that the sludge is not going to meet the permit requirements because that's standard practice.
Thank you. Denise?
And I don't want the word chemical to be frightening. Obviously, they have a license, and under the fourth bullet for operational approach, TEC is very familiar with DEQ and OHA interactions. Obviously, they are doing what is environmentally appropriate to meet the standards.
Tiffany?
A couple of questions. Will the reduction of the solid quality make up the $126,000 that are gonna, so it's not gonna be.
No, we're looking at a hard cost of probably $280 for this fiscal year until we can figure out ways to get it even lower.
And in the meantime, can we not have Jacobs look at this and see?
Council would like, yeah.
So I guess we need a
I'm
consensus.
fine with that, Jacob, look at it. To know that we're in the right area.
This feels weird to me to be asking the people that are leaving because they were, to review the new contract, especially when they're competitors. But we don't have the expertise, I understand, yeah, I don't know where to go to get that.
Yes.
It seems like I have a conflict of interest to ask one of the competitors to review.
But they didn't bid out.
They didn't bid, and this is a public document, so they can read it if they want.
It's not a problem.
Appreciate you got the references, and I would trust it based on the references.
Bernard has him.
Bernard?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so I mean, for what it's worth, when I was there, we had an excellent. It was OMI when I was there. We had an excellent relationship with the operators of OMI of our treatment plant, and I'd like to think we have a similar rapport with Jacobs, and they would be more than happy to look over this contract and all the specification requirements and give their honest feedback. I don't. Unless they're leaving with a bitter taste in their mouth, I'm guessing they'd be more than happy to do this work, and I don't see the issue on conflict of interest. And I think we would learn a lot for their review because they do this for a living. If the city administrator can make that happen, I think that's a wise course for the city.
So we're gonna move on. Denise, you got a quick question?
Are you suggesting we could approve the proposal and ask Jacobs to look at it? Even as we approve it, so we don't have to wait and then be pushed to the edge of having nobody operating our sewage.
Are you asking me that?
Yeah,
Yes, we approve the bid to TEC, and we're directing the administration to vet this contract so it meets all the needs of our treatment plant.
Consensus on
We
that.
have a consensus that Jacobs can look at this?
Sure.
All right, got a consensus of that. Everybody done discussing it? So we got a motion and a second for the proposal of the review and select wastewater treatment plant operator. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the proposal for the review and select wastewater treatment plant operator has passed 7 yeas. All right, now to bills. I have 2 things on the bill.
So we can have discussion to make a motion that we
Oh, sorry.
Approve. Ratification of the bills in the amount of $300,887.55.
Second,
Second.
all right,
Now discussion?
yep, Marion,
Okay, on the bills list dated 4/1/4/17 to 5/5. They do not, the checks do not balance the GL distribution because of a refund. So the amount of checks that should be approved is 53,687.73, not 53,759.73. So that needs to be changed, and then also, because there's checks missing, I would like to see the report show those checks so that we don't keep having these questions about where the checks are. Because we're missing 40 checks on first one, and then there's 6 checks missing on the second one, between the second and third one, so. Could we please get the voided checks on these? I know, Bernard, you didn't like to have them, but. They need to be there to show us where the checks are going.
any other discussion, Tiffany?
Okay, so I do have a question though, on the 7 missing checks that you say, I think there's 7 checks.
Oh, I saw 6.
That are payroll, those are automatic deposit, right? So they wouldn't necessarily be.
Some of them are automatic deposits, some are actual checks we write to like Aflac and other payroll benefits.
Okay, but those are listed, right? That like there's. Cause sometimes I see benefits on here, right?
Yeah, there is payroll.
Yeah, it's just. It would just be nice to have some. Consistency, that, I mean, keep the numbers. Flowing so that, I mean, so we can keep track of. I don't know, it's just, it seems like there's a problem, I don't know.
The 40 missing checks, from what staff has told me, is there was an error in Cassell that was re-pulling the numbers,
Because they didn't close the previous numbers, close the GL.
which might have happened. I don't know the full details, but
Okay, but. My concern, here's my concern. We say that these checks are being voided and I know that we have a few problems in payroll. But unless we can see that. I don't feel comfortable. Because I know what can happen. You follow my drift?
yeah, I can see if they can run the report to show the voided checks.
And just another comment on this, and I'm sorry I have to do this, but. The check issue date should only be one date. Unless you're doing multiple checks, and normally you did a check every 2 weeks for AP. Not 4/1 to 5/5 and 4/23 to 4/22. I mean, did 3 check runs that?
Yes, yeah, they're doing multiple check runs, yes.
Keller.
Can you please clarify, Counselor Bump? I don't know what you're insinuating at.
I'm not insinuating anything.
You just said there's problems that can arise. I'm asking for clarifications of what that means. I don't know what that means. I'm not an accounting expert.
If you're not have the checks on here, how do you know where those checks are? If you don't have check numbers on your registers, how do you know where their checks are? I don't see the log. I'm just saying, if I can see that the checks have been voided, then I'm fine with that.
Can you please, I guess, please dumb this down for me, because I'm not getting it. I don't understand what that problem is going to create. Like what? I don't understand what you're like.
I'm
You
not
asked for it, and you
insinuating
see what I'm
anything.
saying, and I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what that problem is.
How,
Go ahead.
The problem is that you don't know what you're approving or not approving, because there's 47 missing checks and it's our business, not yours specifically, but it's our business to know what's going on with the checks. That's all, plain and simple. It's not an insinuation or anything, it's just that I wanna know what the 47 checks are that are missing.
I guess, okay, sorry, I'm really sorry, Councilor Bump said, a problem can arise, do you understand what I'm saying? And Jordan said yes, I don't understand what that problem is.
Checks could be thrown away, checks could be missing and mailed out to somebody else. You know there's fraud in every place you go.
I don't know that, I'm sorry.
Well, in accounting, you have to be aware of that.
I'm not an accounting expert, so I'm asking so that I can learn.
All right, happy?
I was just gonna say, I think Mr. Keller's point though, if a check is used, we're gonna see it in the check register, right? I mean,
Yes.
so, and if we don't see it, then that means that check has not been used. So I guess.
Or maybe they ran the report wrong. And the check has been used, but we didn't get the report. There's so many possibilities. And all I'm asking is when you write the checks, run that report, and that gives you all the checks that you've done. Voided and everything.
Denise, I don't know how much work it is, but I don't mind seeing void. I don't mind.
Just a
having
report, yeah.
A term next to a check that we don't see.
Any more discussion? So,
Should I would like to make a motion that we table it until, undo my motion and table it until we get the answers.
Just, again, I'm just, what we're approving is the check register as it's reported, we're not, but I guess.
It's missing,
But it's wrong.
it's missing.
Is this the
It's up
second
to you.
meeting we've not approved the check register?
Correct.
And those are still paid.
Oh, yeah, these are checks that we've already sent out, yeah.
It's just getting the answers to the check register.
Is there any negative to not approving it?
So I made my motion to put it on hold until we get the answers for the missing check.
I think you have to withdraw the first.
Okay, I withdraw the first motion.
draw the first motion.
Well, it's not just that we're missing checks, the amount that's reported, the bills doesn't match with what you see in the check register.
Okay, and I don't know who seconded it the first time.
I
Baker.
think I did, yeah, I withdraw my second.
Well, I had Councilmember Happy seconded,
Oh,
but
okay.
did I get that wrong?
No, I think you're right.
Okay. Okay, so made a motion, it was seconded, now you're withdrawing the motion? And now we're what?
Second,
Bernard has a question.
well, we have to have a motion, we're gonna have a question, right? So I would make a motion that we hold the approval of the ratification of the bills until we get the answers of the missing checks and the unbalanced register.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, now, Bernard.
Yeah. I was just gonna maybe suggest there's another way to do this is that we approve this consent agenda item and then we direct the city administrator to get to the bottom of the voided checks and the misbalanced GL and report back to the council at our next meeting. I don't feel like that would harm any, financial, responsibility of the city if we did that. That's all. When we were stuck on the other one, that's when I raised my hand. If we want to postpone it, that's fine too. So I have no issue with it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So we're tabling the ratification of the bills in an amount of $302,887.55 until next meeting. Reports and presentation, committee reports. Audit status update.
Yep, quick audit update, at the April 28th council meeting, I updated that the audit process hit a snag. Was delayed a few weeks. City staff, now CFO and Aldrich worked together to get all the required documents ready to finish field work. Aldrich, tentatively set to start Monday, May 12th, which, they have started today. The process is back in motion. Assuming no other snags happen. It's moving. And I guess, to, Counselor Seeger's point, I can put the, that chart back in, with the timeline. So I just kind of, I guess, with only 2 audits, I felt it wasn't necessary. It's not a, we're working on one and there's the other one after that. But if everybody wants it back in those reports, I can do it.
I like seeing them.
Okay, yep.
Bernard, did you have a question?
My only comment was, yes, I'd like to, the chart, just, it's kind of a monitoring chart until we are current. Until we get to that point, after we're current, that I don't need a audit report, a monitoring report. But until we get there, I just like to see that on my radar. It's a priority. Thank you.
And that's a consensus that everybody wants that report?
Yes.
Okay. City administrator evaluation. So everybody's gotten the evaluation and
I haven't seen anything, so
you haven't seen
I
anything?
haven't, nobody sent me anything.
So,
We should get a copy, so.
yeah,
No, I didn't
you guys all.
Yeah, 100% everybody.
Right, we didn't get a hard copy though, I just saw the.
Yeah, I printed mine at home, but do we?
I can make a bunch of copies, yeah.
I can't skip one. How many do we need?
I'll take a hard copy.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
And one for myself.
Yeah.
4 for you, 4 includes you.
Yeah. Yeah, I printed mine. Yep. Take a 5-minute break. Just make your copies and then we'll get that on it.
No, I have mine, but they're not right, and I'm gonna call my eye doctor and tell him, no, cause I have 2 different stigmatisms in here.
Fire post on here's me so I don't forget accidentally take them.
My glasses, where do you go? I have an eye doctor in Portland.
I didn't have to just about American Defense Team, but
No, I like my guy, he's good, and we will honor him. And we do part of the.
Well, mine are just cheaters anyway.
Oh, no, mine's prescription, but I have 2 different things going on.
You need a Cadillac.
Yeah. I'm not old enough like that.
Yeah, too young and scared.
Mhm.
You gotta be 80 to be old enough.
Well, I'm not there yet. They might feel like I'm 80, but.
Brenda, can I ask you a question?
Hmm?
Can I ask you a quick question? You know, I was talking to somebody and they were talking about doing a newsletter for the city.
Uh-huh.
And believe it or not, I found the other day in my junk, 2013. I don't know if you knew, I'm trying to think of, the gal on your front desk, all of a sudden her name escapes.
Oh,
Carrie's mom.
Yeah,
Did you know her?
no, but I know
She's across the river.
yeah.
Yeah, well, she used to gather up information and I used to gather up information. There was a gal by the name of Kayla that had a business called Old Gorm.
Yes, I remember that.
her.
Mhm.
Okay, she would format, cause I can type and email it to you, but I'm no good at formatting. She would format the newsletter. And then we'd come down and fold them and stuff them in the electric bills that just went out to people in town, not to the South Lake.
Right.
And so, well, we had a newsletter for a couple of years.
We had it up until a few months ago too.
Yeah.
The newsletter until like last year.
Did I get my sweater that had the quilting? And,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Swear, am I losing my mind?
Oh, is there another one there or that's?
Oh, yeah, I gave myself one twice.
Yes?
It's okay, it's a
Come on.
different night.
Thank you, a little longer.
There you go.
Anyway,
All right,
I wondered if you could find volunteers to do that.
That's a good idea.
Newsletter.
Yeah.
Because there's some activities that I'd like to. We can put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Okay. We should talk.
Yes, we will. All right, city administrator evaluation, we're gonna wait for Kathy to get that. Yeah, we're good. So we just kind of go through it and that's all we're doing is just kind of summarizing some. In section 1, the performance category scoring. The total average is a 3. Am I doing it the right way, Jordan? In section 2. Professional skills and status. The total average is 2.9. Number 3, relations with elected members of the governing body. Total average is 3.1. Number 4, policy execution. Total average is a 2.8. Number 5, reporting. Total average is a 2.5. Number 6, citizen relations, 2.6. Number 7 is staffing, 2.8. Number 8 is supervision, total average is 3. Fiscal management, total average is 2.5. Number 10 is community, and that total average is 3. And then you have all of there. Any discussion?
So I'm wondering if since looks like, 4 people haven't read it, maybe we should have this discussion at the.
Oh, I read it.
Okay.
I've read it.
Okay.
I still have it.
Yeah.
I don't have a printer, and I don't feel it's appropriate to use a school printer.
Yeah. Bernard, did you have a question or something?
Yes, can someone just, for my understanding, review this process in conducting the full evaluation for our city administrator?
Review the process.
Yeah, so we all did our evaluations as individual council members.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, it would go to the employee. They would have a chance to look at it, and then we would have a conversation. It's kind of like, this is our time to coach the city administrator or the specific employee on things we think they're doing well and things where they think they need improvement. So this is the whole process. Then generally that leads to maybe, I don't know if he's up for his contract, but then that would maybe feed into contract negotiations. That's what it's like. Did someone lay out a process? Because I just wasn't aware of it. I apologize.
I was trying to learn the whole process all along, so I was told that we did the forms that we did, and then we submitted them to the attorney. The attorney compiled them. The attorney sent them out to us, the counselor, so we could review it. And then Jordan gets a copy. Usually when the employee gets an evaluation, they receive a copy of the evaluation too. And then this is just a general thing, because we're not doing contract or nothing. This is very general, according to what Jordan told me how it was done previously, because I'm totally going off of his instructions. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah, the previous iterations have been very laid back. We go through this process. I get a general consensus from council on what they'd like to see improvements on. And that's about it. If Pete, I think, and Denise probably only 3 from the last time, and Eric. That was about it. It wasn't really like in a written formal kind of, we review this and get general feedback.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was very generalized. Did
Okay.
that answer your question, or is your hand up again?
Just, yes, just a few follow-ups. So it would be my intention that we actually have the city administrator, evaluation in an executive session so we can, be honest with our feedback. And just, that seems like a personnel matter in which that would be subject to the executive session exemption. I would want to check that, but I believe that would be an example of that. I'm not sure if
Yeah, I did offer the executive session. Because I talked to city attorney and he said that we had to offer a public one, but I did offer executive. Jordan did not want it in an executive session. But I understand what you're saying. If you guys feel better, I feel better doing it that way. But it's totally up to council.
Well, that's my preference. And again, ideally, he's just seeing them now, right? The city administrator.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So ideally, we put together our comments, he takes a look at them, and then we meet and discuss at a later date. And then hopefully he'll have time to absorb everything and thinking about it. And then, I think any time you evaluation, it's really a two-way conversation. Like, these are the things we're seeing. It's like, what do you see from these comments that you think you can use to improve, our delivery of the mandate, of the city of Cascade Locks? And we have this back and forth, and ideally we would agree on, what those steps and would be, So, yeah, it would be my hope that we would schedule an additional meeting to have, again, a confidential conversation on these issues.
Tiffany, did you have something?
No, I was just gonna state what you stated, that he requested that it be public.
So do you guys want to, in the next meeting, do an executive session so he has time to look at this and then we can be more personal with it?
I think that'd be more.
Jordan, you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay,
I guess my question is why?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm
I
asking
think,
you guys.
I guess what I took out of what
Yeah.
Bernard was just saying is that we, it's the first time we were in session.
No, I don't feel comfortable, like, sorry, I totally interrupted you doing that.
So I guess what I was agreeing to was the idea that I'd like to give our city administrator an opportunity to read through this, digest it, and take some of our feedback to heart, and then come back to us after he's processed it, that it's gonna review that.
And that way we can be more personal too with it, because right now we really can't, and we have to be very vague.
Well, and I guess I was just speaking to coming back to finish the review at a later date. And I think that when I've heard other people advocating for doing this executive session, so that people are frank and having that conversation closed door as opposed to in a public meeting. But I'm just summarizing what I've heard other people say.
So
Does that answer your line?
I guess if you're gonna say it. Like, the whole public should know how you feel.
yeah,
I would prefer to have it in a public setting, but if I'm not gonna get how you truly feel in a public setting, then it might as well be an executive.
would you like more time so you can digest?
I would,
the
yes,
Evaluation, so can we table this to the next meeting so he has time
Yeah, you can do that.
digest it?
I'm totally cool with that. My
And then-
thought is that if you're gonna talk smack or you're gonna glow about somebody, then do it. Like, you
No,
don't need
it's
executive
not,
session to do that.
no, it's not about that, it's just being more.
No, I'm saying, like, if you're gonna provide criticism, then you're gonna provide criticism. If you're gonna provide compliments, you're gonna provide compliments.
Yeah.
There's no sense in hiding behind an executive session to do that. Do it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'd like to hear Bernard's response to that, because I think that there's probably, let's say we talk about things behind closed doors, other people have not been to hear. And then they feel like those concerns were not ever aired. So doing that in a public place where people can actually hear those, that debate and conversation can be more productive, you know.
Bernard, and then I'll get to you ladies.
Yeah, my only comment was, look, when we were trained as leaders in the Army, they told us to praise in public and admonish in private. And I think I have a few comments that would maybe be categorized as admonishment. And I don't think we should drag anybody through that in a public setting. That is not necessary for their self-improvement or their employer improvement. So that was my intention, is that I'm happy to do the praise in public, but some of the things that are admonishment or needs improvement, I think that should be a private matter between us and the employee. And then, you know, again, we walk from there. So that's the only point of the executive session.
Denise?
I will defer to the will of this body. I'm open to do this in public, and now that Bernard shared that praise in public and admonish in private, I can see the point of that as well. I want to point out that there are 6 out of 10 on here, even with this, the diversity of numbers, where a quorum has scored average score of average or above. So, and there are just 4 out of 10 where there isn't a quorum. There's 3. Anyway, just want to throw it out.
What do you mean?
4 of the 7 scores were average or above on 6 of the 10 categories. So there's just, anyway, in my opinion, 4 that were lesser than that.
Tiffany, did you have a question?
I think it should be up to Jordan, whatever he wants. I mean, it's just.
It's gonna be up to you. We're gonna give you time to digest it to next meeting, and do you want it public or executive?
Public, please.
Okay, public.
He wants it public.
All right. All right, then we'll table that until you'll put it on the next.
Yep.
Agenda. Thank you. And now, City Administrator Bennett report.
Not a super big report. LOC Spring Conference. I attended the LOC Spring Conference in North Bend. All good sessions. 2 of them focused on our issue specifically. Gaining local support for a levy and code enforcement on a budget. Both provided information I can use right away to work on supporting the food tax and setting up a successful code enforcement program. The rare host application, I think this is common knowledge by now. The city was notified by the rare program. Has been temporarily suspended due to federal budget cuts to the AmeriCorps program. No timeline was given, but I'm not expecting the program to move forward this year. The quarterly LOC Small Cities Conference or meeting is Thursday, June 12th in Mosier. Tourism Committee, Tracy Bordis has resigned from the Tourism Committee. We now have 2 openings on the Tourism Committee. And then I have a handful of items not on their support. Just a quick update for the budget schedule. The orientation and budget handout is this Wednesday. The first budget hearing is the 21st. We'll take a break for the week of Memorial Day. The second budget hearing is set for June 4th.
And that's at what time?
6:30. Reminder that the next council meeting on May 26th is canceled due to Memorial Day, and then I'll be on vacation that week. So, that's all I got.
Thank you. All right, so mayor and city council comments about Keller. You want to go first tonight?
I guess so, you caught me off guard.
Sorry.
Where are we at with the YouTube and being able to stream on YouTube and like kicking people out, and just reminded me of that situation. Secondly, I want to get council consensus on writing a proclamation to encouragement of LGBTQ Pride Month for the month of June. And I hope you guys notice all the graduation signs. The graduating seniors have 4 weeks of school left.
Nothing.
Whoa. We didn't get consensus.
You need some consensus on your LGBT.
Yes.
TQ.
So a consensus on the proclamation for LGBTQ. We have a consensus. Everybody raise your hand if you're for it.
I'm sorry,
that's great.
can you restate the action item? I'm sorry.
Shouldn't be an action item.
No, it's not an action item. It's a consensus.
Of putting a proclamation for June, declaring and honoring the LGBTQ for the month of June.
So is your hand up for yes or no? Or
That
announce?
hand was to ask the question. Thank you.
Okay. So a consensus for that?
The consensus is to draft the letter.
Proclamation letter.
To draft it? To draft the letter?
That's what I'm just seeking
Or to put it
clarification.
on the agenda, and you can approve it or not approve it, I don't care, that's your prerogative.
I'm good for that.
Who's all in support?
Alright, and so if I say I'm adamantly against it, then it doesn't move forward, I mean, is that how this works?
Yeah, consensus has to be everybody. No? All right,
Whoa, so
the consensus is all 7.
I appreciate that. And I'm just asking for recognition of people that struggle and face adversity. First, you won't declare and give support to immigrants, and now you won't give support and declaration to LGBTQ people? What happened to this council that doesn't want to give support to people that are suffering in this community? This is ridiculous, people. Support the people in our community.
And Pete, you didn't have anything? You did.
No, the budget meeting, we're getting our orientation this week on Wednesday. I'll be here for that. Following week on Wednesday, I'm out of town, and so I won't be here for the first budget meeting, which is unfortunate because that's what we're doing by the general fund, which is big. And then I've got my budget review notes. I sent them to Mary Ann and Bernard. I had some notes that were ambiguous. I wasn't sure what they meant, so I sent them back.
I hate it when I do that.
Yeah, it should have been more detailed. It made sense when I wrote this down. But I think, Bernard and Mary Ann, if you can chime in and help me out, I think the only really biggest part was just the rent that we charge the utilities, so water, sewer, electric department. And made a note about charging market rates for those departments. And my rationale behind that is that if we were to lose the use of that city space and they had to rent space from somebody else, then we have to come up with that additional funds.
True.
So I just wanted to restate that I feel like that's a way that we could not only provide more revenue or resources for our general fund, but it also protects those departments should they lose the use of the space they're currently occupying. Was there anything else that I've written down?
What was your proposal?
So the rent that we charge for water, sewer, electric,
Streets.
yes, those departments, they haven't changed. It's a
No,
flat
they haven't changed in
fee,
years.
in a long time, and so. Especially as we've been talking about the suitability of this building. And potentially losing access to that space, I feel like we need to those rents should be current with our, what the port would charge, for example, if they were to move into that. Bernard or Mary Ann, was there anything else that you saw in my notes that was noteworthy? Okay,
Okay, I'll read it again.
I can,
I responded to it, what I told you about, but that was I'll have to read it again.
I need to relook.
okay. But if everything looks good, then I guess reply, let me know, and then I'll get that over to Jordan this week, so that way you've got, my hope is to get this to you, so you can take some of that feedback into consideration as you're drafting the budget. But that's all I got.
All right, Mary Ann, you.
Will the budget be available Wednesday?
Yep, the books are ready to go.
Is that all you have? All right, Bernard.
Okay, so first thing I want to say is a big shout out and appreciation to our mayor, who is now part of the Keep Cascade Locks Clean team. She joined us on Saturday while she was diligently running the burn pile, her and Mary Ann. So grateful on 2 fronts. and she's gonna walk a route. Have you decided which route you're gonna be walking, Mayor? Near your house?
I'm gonna be doing Forest Lane and then the cemetery and then back down, I think that's Lewis where the apartments.
Oh, yeah.
Going up that hill and down Riverview.
Riverview.
Yeah, doing Riverview.
That's a great route. Okay. So
Yeah.
first, thank you to the mayor, and for anybody else watching or listening, please, if I could get every citizen in this town on the litter patrol, that would be awesome. So please join us, and let's keep our town even cleaner than it is. Next thing, I will be done with school, I believe, the week of June 13th, and then I'll be attending meetings in person again. So looking forward to being in your presence, and appreciate your patience as I crank through this last term, which was a brutal one today, by the way. Our midterm is just killing me, and forest economics too. Let's see. And then one other thing. Oh, yeah. So just real quick, I attended the I guess the fund request hearing, and I was among, God, there were well over 100 different fire departments, cities, counties making requests of the legislature. There was like a 5-panel board of state representatives and senators hearing our requests. We each only had 2 minutes. It was very fast, but I did my best to make our pitch for the ODOT reimbursement project. I talked to Trey when we were done, and he was like, okay, we checked that block, but we need to keep pressing the issue. And he agrees 100%. And he's actually trying to set up additional meetings this week and next. And if he calls, I told him, just call me. I'm 40 minutes away, and I'm happy to continue to litigate that on our behalf. So let's see. I had one other thing. No, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Denise.
I just want to say thank you again for manning the burn or the debris pile. It was nice to have you out there. And I've seen ads on the social media for the Gorge Tourism Summit this Wednesday. It says everybody is welcome. I think it's bringing together lots of different organizations, Friends of the Gorge. And so you have to Google that or look online. Might be all day Wednesday. I wanted to say that it is Memorial Day is coming up, and I want to honor the folks, the hometown heroes and families that are impacted by folks lost in the military. And it's also Military Appreciation Month, as well as Jewish Heritage Month, Asian American and Pacific Islander Month, as well as Haitian Heritage Month. And I know that there are folks in our town that are of many diverse heritages, and we want to welcome that diversity and all the diversity. And while some months have been named in the past, focus on, it is always that we welcome all the diversity of the folks in our town. We represent every single person, doesn't matter LGBTQ+ or their heritage. And there are special times where we stop and think about the history and some of the struggles and the successes that have been given to us. I think that's it.
Thank you, Denise. Tiffany?
Okay, so this is the packet that I picked up from the city, and this much of it is ripped, is the duplicate. So that's a lot. I was like freaked out when I got this council packet because there was like this much double. So I don't know the packets, but there was like a lot of double. I appreciate that Bernard did go to the May 9th thing, but I'm wondering how that came about. Was there a consensus by the council? I mean, I know we approved him to go to the meeting before that previously. The only reason I ask is because some of the council jumped on the mayor for going to a school board meeting representing the citizen herself and the citizens, not as the mayor.
She did, she said, I am the mayor and I represent the city of Cascade Locks.
Okay.
If you wanna watch the video, watch the video. That's like word for word what she said.
Okay, but still, did we authorize Bernard to do that? Yeah, it seems like we kind of like jump on we jump on the people that we don't agree with, and we jump on the people that we do agree with. And, you know, considering the last mayor walking around town with the mayor hat on and going to meetings, stating that she was the mayor at contentious meetings, and nobody here, jumped down that person when they did that, when that was a clear violation, as, you know. Okay, let's be equitable in our criticisms of how we criticize the people that we're working with here. Also, I am not against the LGBTQ population, I just wanna make that known, I just am against dividing our town into different sects to give homage to one class over another. And I just think we should just stay together as a group of 100%, not just 5%, 10%, 20%, 50, whatever the number is. And that's all. Thank you.
All right, I don't have too much. I want to thank the city staff and the public works guys for filling the potholes. I did recognize that.
Okay.
And thank you guys. And then can we just do a little thing so people are clear that we're doing second Saturday and last Thursday of the month for debris?
Yeah, we're gonna add it into the upcoming bills going out.
Thank you. And then I went down to the debris thing when the curtain burner was here. I don't know how many people got an opportunity to do that. I got some pictures if you guys would like to see kind of what it was like. Met the guy and the pile that we had because they had gathered all of that the week before from all around town, so it was a huge pile. But it took about 3 days to burn. And he said what they really don't like in there is blackberry bushes, because they leave a lot of stuff and fill up this curtain, I guess, really quick. But it was really cool because it was kind of a windy day and there was very, very little smoke. I mean, if any at all. And then every once in a while you'd get a burst of a smell maybe, but it was a windy day, but really there was no smoke or no fumes from it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And hopefully that'll give us a better understanding of what we can do each time.
Yep.
And then I also got invited to attend the kitty care ribbon cutting tomorrow for the new business at the school, just so you guys have a heads up. I'm not gonna speak, but I'll just cut the ribbon, I guess. Unless you guys want me to do more. I'm trying to be very careful about that stuff. And then I attended tourism meeting this time, met with the city administrator, went to the fire station, energy reliance. And that was informative about the solar panels and all of that. And then I wanted to mention, a long-term resident that has done a lot for our town, Martha Lamont. She is gonna be moving, so she's gonna be not doing our food bank anymore. So if anybody sees her, you know, maybe tell her thank you or whatever, but she made a call to me to let me know that she is gonna be moving at the first of the month. So, and that's all I have. Oh, Forest Lane, can't forget Forest Lane. I'd like to get hold of the deputy to see if we can move that trailer on Forest Lane, the speed trailer. Because they're flying, but we all know that. And that's all I have. I'm gonna take a motion to adjourn.
Sorry, I forgot one thing. I emailed Jordan about the flags. I feel like the city is the leader in the town and our flags are hideous and disrespectful. I didn't realize City Halls was in such just faded and ugly looking. I have a new one for the cemetery. I can purchase another one. But I want to ensure that our flags are crisp, clean, sharp, and any time there is any fray or anything that we're the leaders and we have a clean, fresh flag.
Yeah, and the Boy Scouts of America will take the flags and do the right thing by
Do we
them,
not
too.
have money in the budget to buy flags?
We do, yeah.
Why aren't we buying flags?
I think when Eric emailed, Sheldon said he was gonna order some, but I haven't seen them, so.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, guys.
Excuse me, who seconded that motion?
I
Thank you.
We got it done by 9:20 tonight.
To be fair, we did move the evaluations.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a